Welcome to this Tiny Bug video essay. Today, as you might have guessed, I'm going to be talking about SuperM. I've written a bunch of scripts about SuperM content, but all of them alone seem to be lacking in points included in the others. So I finally rewrote everything and compiled them all together. So even though the title says this essay is just about 100, it is effectively my thoughts about SuperM as a whole, which is why this video is so damn long. As such, it's probably going to be my only video about SuperM. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. And just to give you a fair amount of warning, I am very critical of SM Entertainment in this video. I will be upfront with the fact that I do not have a lot of positive things to say about SuperM. So if you were in search of a video praising SuperM or SM Entertainment, this is not that video. And if you watch this and you think I'm wrong about everything and you love SuperM content more than anything else in the world, I think that's awesome. I completely support you. I'm not trying to prove you wrong or convince anyone to hate the group. I just want to start a more constructive conversation about SuperM content beyond what exists right now, which is just people hurling insults at each other in comment threads. And if you do really love SuperM, maybe this video will provide some insight into why so much public reaction towards the group has been negative, and why a lot of dedicated fans of SM K-pop groups like myself were really disappointed by this content. And I just want to be very clear, none of my issues with SuperM, or any SM group for that matter, stem from the members themselves. I actually like every single member of SuperM a lot, to the point I can't even pick a bias. Taemin is one of the greatest idols ever, period. Kai is my bias in EXO. Mark and Ten are some of my favorite members of NCT. You have like 4 of the best dancers in K-pop in one group together, like holy crap. Baekhyun can do this, which is not okay. And most of what I thought was good about SuperM was just them. Like, it's the exact same stuff I appreciate about them as artists in their other ventures. And I think there were a lot of times where SuperM's given content was pretty subpar, but I was able to enjoy it because these artists really pulled through on their delivery and stage presence. And if you were a fan of any SM boy group in the past decade, you probably had some emotional investment and interest in this group. But there's definitely a limit to my loyalty, and I'm not going to be overjoyed or support poor quality content just because there are artists I admire being paid to take part in it. In the same way I can comment on what I disliked about a movie while still really liking the actors in that movie. But my video essays are not always going to be about things that are perfect and amazing and spectacular, because K-pop is not always perfect and amazing and spectacular. And SuperM's 100, in my opinion, was not very good. And this is an essay about why I think that. I think SuperM is maybe one of the most interesting K-pop groups to analyze, because the design and execution of the group displays SM's flaws as a company to an almost comical degree. And because they made it a supergroup, SuperM kind of exists as a micro-scale petri dish of SM business strategy as a whole. And I see SuperM as being created with 2 very important goals in mind. The first is the American market. Everything about SuperM content is so stereotypically and aggressively masculine. And that seems to be the extent of their concept right now. And I think this is quite revealing when you understand that this content is meant for the American market. I'm honestly a little bit annoyed and insulted as an American that this is what SM thinks an American-focused pop group should be like. And I'm even more annoyed that they're kind of right. Like, SuperM really lowers itself down to the bare-bones level of what pop culture is in America right now. And it makes it incredibly accessible for American consumers to get into K-pop. Additionally, a great deal of Western aversion to K-pop really just seems to stem from some incredibly sexist, homophobic, and xenophobic ideologies about male idols being too, by Western standards, feminine. So from SM's perspective, the best way to appeal to an American market would be to promote the most masculine K-pop group ever. But seeing this stereotypical image of Western gender norms reflected back at us just truly reveals how shallow and fake that stereotype is. And I also don't think it really ended up working. I think the vast majority of people who became SuperM fans were fans because they were pre-existing fans of these artists or pre-existing K-pop fans, not a brand new giant wave of American consumers like SM hoped. And just because I know people are going to comment about it, We Do was a slight departure from the masculine concept, but it, 1, was a minor advertisement partnership, not a comeback, and 2, was still so obviously and purposely made for the American market, following the trend of retro K-pop concepts that gained a lot of traction in the West. And we have seen overall this increased interest in the American market from K-pop labels, because it's a really profitable segment of the music market. Since the exit of Fifth Harmony, The Wanted, and most importantly, One Direction, the Western market has been mostly devoid of high-profile pop groups. And that vacant American pop group slot has been temporarily filled with K-pop. But I think the window of time for K-pop to inhabit that spot may be limited. We are overdue for a big, shiny, new Western pop group to capture the market's attention. And I'm not saying that K-pop can't or won't be popular if there's a Western group. I just don't think it's a coincidence that the rise of K-pop in the US happened directly after the departure of these groups. It gave K-pop artists a much-needed boost because they had no competitors. Lots of people point to the popularity of BTS or ATEEZ, but I actually think Blackpink is the significant pioneering K-pop group in the American market, which you would know if you watched my treasure video about YG Entertainment's love affair with target markets. But SM, more than any other label, has this obsession with dominating international markets. Like, I think people forget that the original purpose of EXO was to break into the Chinese market. International market share is the thing that, in my opinion, drives nearly 100% of SM business strategy. They wanted a piece of the American pie, and I can't really blame them. But I don't think they ended up with the amount of American market share they wanted. The second goal of Super M was to smooth the transition between EXO and NCT. I think SM experienced something of a crisis in 2019 when they started losing EXO members to the military. EXO was SM's big primary moneymaker for a really long time, and in 2019, NCT was not yet prepared to take over that role. And so, with Super M, they hoped to gain the attention of EXO and Taemin fans and rapidly turn them into NCT fans. These members were all specifically chosen because they are crucial, center, attention-grabbing members of their respective groups. And these 4 members collectively span across an incredibly large range of NCT content and had predominant roles in several of their most popular releases. Basically, the way I tend to think about it is that Super M is really just a giant marketing Trojan horse for NCT. This is why SM didn't debut a completely new group of trainees. It's why SM couldn't just make an American-focused subunit of NCT, and it's why it was the right decision, as much as I love him, to not include Johnny in the lineup. I talk about this 2020 transition to NCT more in my Resonance video, and I actually think they were somewhat successful in this goal. NCT has gained a lot of popularity and a ton of market share in the past 2 years, but it's hard to say how much Super M really contributed to that. I still very much believe that a lot of fans of these more senior artists still just see themselves as fans of those artists or just as fans of Super M. And while the group did introduce them to a few members of NCT, they're not invested enough to go learn about the others. So pretty much any way you look at this, if you were an American K-pop fan or an NCT fan, you would have benefited from Super M's success whether you liked them or not. And as an American fan of NCT, I'm a little bummed that Super M didn't turn out to be everything SM hoped they would. But I almost think that SM's relentless pursuit of these goals might have been the very reason behind their shortcomings. They not only had the pressure of debuting a completely new group that had to hit the ground running because they were already going to have a pre-existing fan base with high expectations, they also had to crack open one of the hardest international pop markets, make a group with 7 centers somehow seem fair, prepare for EXO's hiatus, gain a ton of brand new fans for a group that requires charts to explain all their members, and oh yeah, somehow work out the schedule so these members could still promote in their original groups and solo projects with absolutely zero delay or overlap. SM was trying to accomplish way too many impossible things at once. And is anyone surprised it didn't work out? Even if you're a hardcore Super M fan, you can probably come up with examples of SM dropping the ball on several of these. Because no matter how many amazingly talented idols you put in the group, this is simply too many glass balls to juggle. And dropping even one of them is a surefire way to piss off your fan base. Which is why I think Super M was kind of doomed from the beginning. When I look at Super M, I see potential. I see 7 members that are the pride and joy of this company, but I also see SM Entertainment. I see them at their most desperate, screaming and kicking and clawing at their dwindling power being usurped by the success of others. I see them frantically throwing money at America, praying it would stick. And it slid right off. But the story of 100 doesn't start here. I don't even think it starts in October of 2018. I think we have to go back to the middle of 2016. With the release of Monster, 7th Sense, Russian Roulette, and the beginnings of Taemin's solo career, SM really peaked as a company. This was the height of their reign, and they've been trying to get back there ever since. But they're trying to reach the future they want by doing everything that ever worked in the past. So what is SM Formula? Well, to me, it's when SM releases incredibly similar content repeatedly. Almost as if they're working from a checklist of everything that music video needs to be commercially successful. Pop music, by its very nature, tends to be pretty formulaic, but I think SM often takes it too far. It's Baekhyun, or another main vocal, always having a big giant high note during the final chorus, which is impressive and shocking and spectacular until you see him do it in every music video. It's Kai not wearing half his clothes, so you can fully appreciate his washboard abs, which is impressive and shocking and spectacular, until you see him do it in every music video. And any one element of SM Formula is usually pretty awesome and cool on its own. It's something that fans genuinely like and enjoy, which is why they do it in the first place. And it makes it kind of hard to complain about. But when you watch a lot of SM content, you start to get a strong sense of deja vu. And the sparkle of it all gets old. And you start to realize they're selling you the exact same product with new packaging. And there's a difference between brand identity and repetition. Brand identity is having stylistic markers throughout all your products that your company is known for. It makes sense that all of these products are made by Apple. You can see the very clear brand identity they were going for. Clean, elegant lines, minimal colors, chic and sleek. And that's different from releasing 12 plus versions of the exact same phone with a built-in strategy of planned obsolescence to make your company as much money as possible. And for me, a decent amount of SM content crosses this line into repetition. And I actually think the most blatant example of SM Formula doesn't even come from Super M, but Jaehyun's I Like Me Better cover and Taemin's Think of You music video. This is not, oh, we use the same director and they make certain artistic choices. This is not, oh, these two music videos just happen to be filmed in the same location. Like, these two music videos are exactly the same. This cannot just be chalked up to fan service. If Think of You had not been produced under SM, it would have been accused of very obvious plagiarism. But no, they released Jaehyun's music video, it was pretty popular, it made them a bit of money, and so they decided to do the exact same thing again, because I guess they just assumed their fans wouldn't notice. Like, this is Taemin, who can do anything. And you're telling me you did not have the creative capacity as a company to come up with a new music video concept for him? And it's not that either of these music videos are bad. Alone, they're both really good, solid pieces of content. But when you watch both of them, it feels like SM giving a great big middle finger to their audience. It feels like SM is saying, we don't even have to try because we already know we can make money off of this. We don't give a shit about you, we don't give a shit about our idols, we don't give a shit about making new, creative, innovative art, because we have a consumer base that will give us money no matter what we put out. "100" is a textbook example of SM formula. Pretty much all the elements are there, but I'll be honest with y'all. This is not a video essay about Super M's 100. This is a video essay about Transformers movies. Yeah, I know, didn't see that one coming, did you? And to me, Super M's 100 is a Transformers movie. I know, like, objectively, it's not a Transformers movie. Like, it's not directed by Michael Bay. Megan Fox is, unfortunately, not in it. But there are very few things separating these two. Transformers movies are made in a very formulaic, repetitive way. They're clearly just money grabs that reflect back everything potentially cool in pop culture. They're overtly masculine and designed purposefully for the young American market, except for that one that they made for China. You know what? Never mind. And as far as I can tell, these are the necessary elements of any Transformers movie. Hot people. Cool cars. A plot that either doesn't exist or makes zero sense. Epic special effects. Completely reliant on nostalgia or intertextuality. This usually happens when franchises or films will make very overt references or inclusions of content you're supposed to love and recognize from their previous work. So like putting Optimus Prime in the movie because fans remember him from their childhood action figures or from the previous movie or whatever. Like, I bet you didn't even know that the plot of the third Transformers movie is entirely about Optimus Prime. And I also bet you didn't know that I totally guessed on what number movie that was, because it literally doesn't matter, because all of them are about Optimus Prime. Except for that one that was about Bumblebee. Ah, Bumblebee. The Wolverine of Transformers. Anyways. Number 6, a sick fight scene. And of course, number 7, Transformers. So now let's examine Super M's 100 based on this criteria. Number 1. Cool, moving on. Cars. No plot. These lyrics are in English, I've read them many times, and I literally cannot tell you what this song or music video is about, other than just a declaration of how awesome they are, and maybe a reference to the speed of cars. Epic special effects. Reliant on intertextuality, absolutely. Every member comes from another SM group, which is why we're here in the first place. Now, there's no fight scene in 100, but if you're paying attention, you know that comes later. And the choreo of 100 is pretty awesome, so I'm gonna kinda count it anyways. Fight scenes are really just well-executed choreography, right? And last but not least, there are not any actual Transformers in this music video. But A, we don't know that for sure because they're robots in disguise. And B, if there were Transformers in this music video, I honestly think it would be an improvement. Which is really saying something. They just don't make them like they used to. So 100 is effectively a Transformers movie. And that's fine. It's great even, if you like Transformers movies. There's lots of talk that Transformers movies are bad. But they're not. Like, they're legitimately not bad. They're fun to watch, they're entertaining, I like them, people pay money to go see them. There's not really anything wrong with Transformers movies or the people who enjoy them. But I don't think I'm going out on much of a limb here when I say Transformers movies are not the height of art. A Transformers movie is not coming out on top in any fancy film festival. Nobody's winning an Academy Award for their starring role in Transformers. We accept this content for what it is. Easy, manufactured, cool, hype, fun. There's no substance to it. No semblance of purpose or emotion. Nobody cares about the plot of a Transformers movie. It is a brief and welcome distraction from the minutiae of life. Transformers movies are not invaluable. There's a reason they exist, and there's a reason people like them, but I don't really consider this art. At least not art worthy of a lot of recognition or admiration, and definitely not art worthy of extensive repetition. I know I've been pretty harsh in this essay, but SM has no excuse for doing this. They've signed some of the best idols in the world. Historically, they've made more money than anyone else in the industry. They have extensive industry connections, power, and influence. They have every resource at their disposal to be able to make innovative, creative, engaging art that really means something to their fan base. And instead, they've chosen not to. Instead, they've chosen to make flashy Transformers movies. I'm fine with K-pop being fun, catchy, meaningless pop music sometimes. I'm fine with companies that don't have big budgets falling for overused tropes. I'll watch an occasional Transformers movie every now and then, but it's ridiculous how common this is for SM Entertainment, and particularly how ingrained it is in Super M content. It's kind of like if there was this incredibly powerful and wealthy company with a ton of talented artists working for them, who, blinded by greed, instead of choosing to make groundbreaking fantastic art, they chose to make temporary hype content that was just a recycled version of everything they'd ever released before. Oh yeah. Okay. This is not a problem unique to SM Entertainment, or even unique to K-pop. If anything, it's the norm of what is happening today with corporate-made media. It's every iPhone release being exactly the same, only somehow worse. It's these cheap noodle people marketing animations you see everywhere. It's 400 knockoffs of Candy Crush. It's Disney's live-action remake obsession. It's 6 entire, full-length Transformers movies. And it's every Super M music video. And at times, it feels like nobody is making art anymore. Just the same product, with new packaging. The statement that capitalism drives innovation is almost laughable when you look at this kind of content. Super M's 100 is not bad. It's something so much worse. It's safe. It's forgettable, it's disposable, it's predictable, it's a copy of a copy of a copy, and unfortunately, it is profitable. And so it is guaranteed to happen again and again and again. Until we give up and stop buying tickets to Transformers movies, no matter how hot and talented Megan Fox is. I really wanted to like this group, and I'm so disappointed that I don't. And the reason why Super M content is so safe and generic, the reason they make Transformers movies, is because SM was in way over their heads. They had far too much writing on this group. They could not afford to make adventurous, innovative content that might not have been profitable. They were greedy, and they valued money and gains in market share above the responsibility to their fan base to make quality art. This was the most important glass ball, and they dropped it. At least, I think they did. In their effort to redefine K-pop for the Western market, SM made the very thing the ignorant, adverse Western market accuses K-pop of being, and it's made me lose a lot of respect for them as a company. Groups that are popular in America aren't popular because they're sexy or masculine or have cool, flashy music videos. They're popular because they make good art that fans are able to identify with and connect with, no matter what language it's in or what culture it comes from. I'm tired of SM formula. I'm tired of getting excited for new SM releases only to be let down by another Transformers movie. I'm tired of feeling manipulated by this entertainment label for my money, and I'm tired of people not talking about it. Because I think SM should be held accountable for this, in the same way that Disney and HBO and Apple are being held accountable. And at this point, I honestly feel bad for their idols, because SM is wasting the talent and creativity they have sitting right in front of them. SM is capable of more than Transformers movies. I know they are. I just wish they made the kind of content I know they have the capacity to make. And in a strange way, I am comforted that they can't just buy good art into existence. No matter how hard, they keep trying.